guys for joining us. Today we'll be discussing co-designing motivating learning experiences to deliver outcomes. My name is Kinta Montilus. I'm a learning design researcher at Pearson, and this is my colleague Tiantian.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiantian, a senior learning design researcher from the same team as Kinta. We're both from the DBR team under the learning design research team. And today we two are very glad representing our team to share our work and research experience with all of you guys. And in today's presentation, we're going to introduce the learning design research in Pearson's product lifecycle and 3 important principles and framework that we rely on for our research. And then we will work through a case study. And we hope after this presentation, we can equip our audience with framework and skills to help you create more learner-centered and evidence-based designs. Okay, let's start from the learning design research. Well, research plays a very important role at Pearson. It is conducted throughout the whole product life cycle to evaluate new ideas, improve existing products, build deep audience knowledge, all with the goal to produce and deliver a high-quality product and customer experiences. And research supports the early phases of the PLC, product life cycle, the idea, explore, and validate. It also supports development of capabilities in grow and to lesser extent sustain. But today we're gonna focus on the first 4 stages, which is a learning design research team engaged deeply. Well, at Pearson, we have various research teams for different research purposes, and they involve in different stages of a PLC. For example, in this graph, you can see the user experience team engaged in the idea, explore, and early validate stage mostly. But the efficacy research team involved deeply in the late validate and grow stage. And they all have extraordinary contributions to the product life cycle. And today we're gonna only elaborate the learning design research team's work. And from this graph, you can clearly see most of the LD research team's contributions are in the idea, explore, and early validate stage. Now let's see what we do at each stage. Well, in the idea stage, we conduct fundamental research like orthography research and literature reviews and strategic research to get learning strategy to identify learners' needs and build concept model. And we also do some early learner validation. At the end of this stage, we expect to have a learning and market and technical need that addresses a marketable job to be done and aligns to business strategy. And then in the explore stage, we do generative research like more early learner validation and student and instructor co-design snapshot sessions. And at the end of the stage, we're gonna have a clear understanding of assumptions about the learner and validate early solutions. And then in the validate stage, we have 2 sub stages. In the early validate stage, we do formative research like fast feedbacks, co-design live workshops, and biometric testing. And output from this stage would be minimal viable product that has been tested for usability and impact on learning in a lab setting and is instrumental to collect analytics. And then in the later validate stage, we do in vivo research to optimize designs. And we pilot test the MVP with learners in real classroom setting and to refine the implementation guidance and positioning strategy. And then in the grow stage, the product has been launched. So its impacts on learning and business is summatively evaluated based on efficacy data collected from large number of users. And the whole process is standard, but also very flexible. We only pick the most appropriate methods for any problem or questions at each stage. And you might be curious like how we came up with this framework. And then in the next sessions, we're gonna introduce the principles that we're based on. And I will introduce the first two, design thinking and design-based research. Well, design thinking is already widely applied to various types of product design, but at Pearson, we apply it to an educational context and define it as a human-centered, creative problem-solving mindset combined with a systematic process for discovering and applying learners' and instructors' needs aligned with learning science evidence to create impactful learning designs. And based on the design thinking principle, we conduct design-based research. We start from defining the problem to be solved and observing and gathering internal cross-functional insights about user needs and synthesize user needs and or access DBR repository, and also generate initial user pinpoint themes and outline user testing protocol. After an initial discovery research, we redefine the problem to be solved and validate pinpoint with actual users and map stakeholder needs and wants and draft learner-centered design concept outline. And then we align the needs and wants to learning models and principles and also consider learning evidence to apply what works and brainstorm instructional strategies. And then based on the findings from these three stages, we create initial solutions, including wireframe, prototypes, and instructional content. And then we validate these solutions through soliciting stakeholder feedback and validating with users for efficacy. And then we iterate on the solutions to continue to test and refine and implement and test in specific learning contexts. And the whole process it's not linear. Actually, it's like a cycle. So, and it's very flexible. You may need to jump back to the empathize or even the discovery stage from align or even solution or even the validate at any time like you need until you find the best solution or when you think it's necessary to do more improvement for those solutions. And and this is what we usually do for the design-based research. And from now, I'll have to Kinta. She's going to introduce another important principle.
Thank you. So at Pearson, we have over 40 learning design principles that are developed by our learning research and design team. And our LDPs are based on a synthesis of applied research basics. LDPs help provide a point of view for all stakeholders during the design process, and they also serve as a solid reference points for targeted aspects of how people learn. For today, I'll be focusing solely on motivation, but if you go to our website, we do have other ones such as metacognition, goal setting, assessment, mobile learning, supporting feedback, cognitive load, and many more. So for our motivation LDP, we define motivation as a process that occurs when goals and activities are instigated and sustained. Motivation is typically easy to observe in a classroom, but when you're in an online setting or within a digital tool, it's a lot harder. So motivation is also considered one of the driving force of students' choice and the extent of their engagement, effort, and persistence in their learning process. So in our motivation LDP, we do talk about different motivation models, but I'll be talking about the expectancy value model. The expectancy value model is a widely used framework that captures key elements of what motivates an individual and helps explain a wide range of achievement-related behaviors. So when we talk about expectancies is the belief in one's ability or skill. So students ask themselves, can I do the task? When we get to the values, students are asking themselves a series of questions, but they're in 4 elements. So in regards to importance, students are asking, does it meet a need that is important to me? In interest, do I enjoy it or find it interesting in and of itself? Utility, does it relate to my current or future goals? And then the cost, what are the gains or loss in engaging in this task? When designing to increase motivation, here are some ways to reinforce that learners can do the task. So we can provide choices in learning. We can also offer tasks of intermediate difficulty. We could do informational constraints, transparent evaluation, offer positive feedback only when the learner feels responsible for competent performance, and it encourages autonomy. Additionally, we can spark curiosity by offering surprising information or integrating simulations or games. So the research reveals that persisting at a task, even during difficulty, boredom, or fatigue, indicates, or generally indicates, motivation to do that task.
Can you just go back for 1 second? I just wanted to go back one more. The ways to decrease. Okay, I just wanted to see that.
Sorry. You're good?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, no problem.
No, I missed it.
Okay, so research reveals that persisting at a task, even during difficulty, boredom, and fatigue, indicates motivation to do that task. So to see how we put the motivation LDP in action, we will take a look at the problem we were having with our tool Pearson Writer. So Pearson Writer is a digital writing support tool that is accessible both on the mobile and desktop platform, and it's designed to help students from start to end through their writing process. Now, when looking at the Pearson Writer tool, we identified 2 problems. From a business perspective, we realized that learners' usage was low. But from a learner's perspective, when we did our discovery work to empathize with learners to find out what's going on, we found out that Pearson Writer, as it was designed, wasn't meeting learners' needs. So to better understand the needs of students and the areas of improvement, we used our design thinking framework to collaborate with students and to understand their needs through focus groups, interviews, to identify their pain points and ways to directly address them through the product. So our goal was to produce a tool that actually motivated and encouraged learners to use it to improve their writing, ensuring that there are appropriate scaffolds in place to help them plan and monitor their progress from start to end. So following our different iterations, we took all of our feedback from learners and additional evidence-based research back to the product team to show them how we can improve Pearson Writer and make it a better user-centered design. So we've run a lot of tests, focus group surveys and everything, so I just pulled maybe 4 quotes. So in the first quote, this learner validated that they found use in the tool helping them get through all parts of the writing process by having a known reliable resource that offers videos and supports that help them not to forget anything. In the second quote, this learner validated that the planning process is an important step to them, but learners would be more motivated to use the tool if they were able to customize it and edit it to their own preference. In the third quote, learners validated that the Pearson Writer checklist is useful because it easily allows them to track their progress based on their professor's expectations, but then it also helps them motivates them to manage and plan their time more efficiently. And lastly, learners validated that the checklist is helpful because it encouraged them to make sure that they have done everything required. So each iteration that we did, it didn't necessarily test the same thing. There were different features, but basically you just keep on at it until you kind of get it right. So Pearson Writer has made a lot of feature changes based on the work done by the DBR team. However, our work is not completely done or ever done because it is an iterative process. So even while it's in its evolved state, we at DBR are still testing the latest feature to make sure that they hold up to what learners actually need. So to find out more about Pearson Writer, you can go to our websites. There's videos, there's tutorials, all sorts of things. And that is it for our presentation.